I begin to look around the restrooms. Empty. The cafeteria. Empty. Training rooms. Empty. Healthcare department. Empty. The entire building had an occupancy of 1. I begin texting my friend. He says it's probably the wind and the nerves are getting to me being all alone in a big empty building. I know what I heard, and it wasn't the fucking wind. Decide to go get a cup of coffee from the cafeteria and say fuck it. Sitting there watching the clock roll down as my lunch hour passes. As I sit there drinking the shitty coffee from the vending machine, I see it. On the table close to mine. A cigarette. A semi-lit cigarette. I stare at the thing for what seems like an eternity. Almost like I was frozen. I jump off my chair and go to the phone. We had a specific phone that is only to be used if we needed to call a manager or, as we call them, team leader for an emergency. I dial up the number. Manager picks up the phone from some club, least the loud music led me to believe it was a club. Anon? What's up dude, what's going on? I think there's someone here dude, like someone who isn't supposed to be. Anon, just call the cops? My lapse in judgment finally got to my head. Yeah, sorry, I'll do that right now, it's just I kept hearing this random scratching and this cig I found. Cig? Anon, whatever you do stay right there and don't fucking move, me and some other TLs are gonna be right over. But what about the cops? Don't call them, we'll handle it. Kind of taken aback by what I just got told, I just tell him okay and wait. All the while the night seems to stand still. All of a sudden I feel like someone is watching me. That very specific feeling when you can just tell that a pair of eyes are on you. I turn around. Nothing. Being the big brain 200 IQ Anon I am, I commence to say. Hello? Is someone there? I hear another quick lighter click. I see one of the panels of the ceiling move. Oh, that's what's going on. PNG. I think to myself to take the initiative and get a ladder. Once again 200 IQ here. I got up in the ceiling and start looking around with my cruddy phone flashlight. Find piles of used cigs, food wrappers and even some feces, all over the place. It smells like something fucking died. Around that time my cell phone rings. It's my boss. Hello? Anon. Are you good? Where are you? I tell him that I'm fine and that for now the noises have simmered down. Didn't want to tell him that I was investigating because I didn't want to get reprimanded on my first night all alone. As soon as we hang up I continue my trek and keep looking through the gunk and leftover papers wondering what the fuck I just stumbled into. I see something at the corner of the room. A lone filing cabinet. Wide open. Bunch of files there and I decide to read some. Shit like company finances from special except one drawer. Reports. Curiosity got the better of me. I check the files and it's full of reports from over the years. You name it, it's there. Drugs. Sexual abuse. Verbal abuse. All sorts of shady underhanded shit that's gotten reported. And the dates all go up to the time when I worked 2018, 2019. See the reports I made for David, if any of you remember that story. This is essentially a dumping ground for all the shit that's been reported and locked up, so it doesn't get leaked out to the public. This is some Illuminati tier shit. From then, I felt that sense of someone looking at me. I turn around and there he was. This chubby scruffy man. Had to be in his 40s. He starts yelling. What the fuck are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. Get out. For half a second I almost asked him the same, but I was too scared and began to bolt out of there. I can hear him chasing me and I decide to go full retard and jump through the hole where the ceiling piece I removed earlier was. I land right on my ass and I'm in some bad pain. I see the guy above me and he just stares. I bolt out of the building and run into my boss. Dude sees I'm shaken up and he asks if I'm okay. I tell him that I went up to check to see what the noise was, and this big chubby dude was there. He stops me as soon as I say chubby dude and he walks in with 5 other TLs. Doesn't take more than a few minutes for him to come out dragging this dude from the collar. And I don't mean a normal drag out. I mean it looks like they gave him a good boot or 2 to the head before he came out. Sitting there watching this guy whimper on the ground whilst my boss tells his other TL friends to take him to the other room. My eyes at this point are just wide fucking open. Looks like I just saw a murder. Boss comes to me and asks if I'm okay. I tell him yeah and ask who that guy is. He gives me an answer that comes off as 100% bullshit. Tells me it's some homeless guy who keeps getting into the building during the late hours. Every now and then they have to get the cops on him. Today they wanted to catch him themselves to make sure nothing happened. All the while my bullshit alarm is going off. Before I can even say anything my boss stops me. So Anon. Yeah? Any reason you smell like cigs even though you don't smoke? My blood ran cold. For that matter, why exactly do you have a few McDonald's wrappers on you if you don't eat that? Oh, fuck oh fuck oh fuck oh fuck. Boss begins to tell me some shit about how the company likes to keep things to itself. How they don't like certain things getting out due to it being too much of a headache. Tells me that sometimes things don't go the way it's supposed to and that sometimes drastic measures are kind of needed. Looks me right in the eye and then asks. You didn't see anything up there, right? No, sir. You sure? He then proceeds to tell me that I'm off for the rest of the week with paid time off. Just to let me relax a bit. Tells me to go home and we'll talk when I come back. Following week, I come to work and get called by him immediately. Mr. Anon, come to my office please. Boss tells me that I'm going to be sent to a new position to full-time trainer. Tells me that I'm also going to be transferred to a different site in the city. There were technically 2 call centers sites in my town. Says I'm going to get double pay, extra time off, basically all the perks of being a TL without all the hassle. All this sounds shocking as hell to me. Finally get the courage to ask why I'm getting this so suddenly. Oh, Mr. Anon, you're just a good worker and the higher-ups decided instead of making sure you don't say anything about last night we reward you for your bravery and quick thinking. I asked about the chubby guy I found, he simply said not to worry and that we won't see him ever again. I didn't stay at that job much longer. Security paid way more than the double pay I was already getting, and it came without the added baggage of whatever the fuck they were doing at this place. Epilogue. To tie up a single loose end you may have been thinking about. The only reason I'm able to tell this story in the detail I have without worrying about ramifications is due to the fact that none of those who worked there when I did no longer work there. My boss died in a car accident in December. Many of the TLs either got fired or left entirely. And besides those 4 I was the only one left from that night who still knows anything from that night even happened. Don't know if those other TLs even remember that night either, so this adds another layer of shit to that. As for what happened to the chubby guy, the official story that went around the office was that I was some brave man who caught a homeless robber in the act and was able to apprehend him. When in reality I'm pretty sure if that guy wanted me dead I would have been dead 100%. I'm more than 100% that chubby guy ended up dead somewhere. Rumor in the office was that no footage from that night was ever found due to electronic malfunction. Everything just lined up like some giant conspiracy. But fearing more for my financial state than my actual life I kept my mouth shut. Have heard rumors of some who tried speaking out on stuff getting sued and losing terribly. I don't know what really happened to that guy nor do I care to really find out. All I know is that, That night I found there were many in life much scarier than ghosts or demons.
B16. Be living in backwoods of South Carolina. Hear stories from local kids of creepy house. Decide to check it out. Can't be that scary, right? Grab pistol, knife, and flashlight and head out into dense forest. Starts getting dark. Turn on flashlight. Heavy fog all of a sudden rolls in, bringing a smell of copper and burned hair. Hairs on back of neck start to stand on end. Start hearing whispers and giggles. Hear something running around in woods near me. Hear it get louder. No. Closer. Turn around to see something crawling extremely fast low to the ground on 4 legs. But seemed to have arms and legs like human. Fire a shot right into its back and can see blood splatter and gunshot wound. Lets out a blood-curdling screech and retreats into woods. Fog lifts and smell suddenly goes away. Nope. Betamax all the way home. Get home and there it is, right in my driveway. Runs towards me, and I shoot at it but the bullet doesn't fire. I'm guessing it was a dud. It jumps up and all I can see is its huge white eyes. Black out and wake up on top of Dad's car with Dad over me trying to wake me up. My head hurts like a bitch and my ears are ringing. Tell Dad about what happened in woods and he just laughs, and tells me it was nothing. All goes normal for about another 3 hours when Dad says, "Hey Jake, mind getting me these steaks out of the fridge?" I just look at him and say, "Dad, my name is Anon, not Jake." Just looks at me like he is full of hatred directed towards me. Give him steaks and he just goes into his room with them, uncooked. Comes out an hour later with the package and throws it away. I don't even think about asking. At 11 p.m. he tells me to go to bed, which is odd, because it is a Friday, and he doesn't usually care when I stay up. But I do as told and go into my room. At around 3:15 my door opens. It's my dad. I say nothing and pretend to be asleep. That smell of copper returns to the air and I feel sick to my stomach. My dad sits on the edge of my bed and just looks at me for what I would say to be about 30 minutes. He then mumbles something under his breath in a voice I didn't recognize. My blood turned cold and I just laid there. When he got up and left, my heart dropped and I just laid there until morning. The next morning I wake up and my dad is asleep on his lazy boy recliner, and his nose is bleeding. I wake him up and I'm still spooked. I ask him about the blood, and he has no idea where it came from. I ask him about the night before and he has no idea what I'm talking about, and he doesn't remember waking me up either. My heart drops when he states that it was still Friday, when I know for a fact that it is Saturday. But he argues with me until I show him my phone with the date. At this point we are both freaked. I've never ventured out into the woods since then and nothing strange has happened since then, except sometimes I will hear the front door open and shut a few times during the night.